How's the cookie? You wanna know? It's the Oreo Review Show.
Hum, oh hum, who hum. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Oreo reviewer. Welcome back to another star-studded episode in which we'll be reviewing another new Oreo cookie flavor. They really came out of the gate strong in 2020. If you missed it, last week I reviewed the chocolate marshmallow, and while the flavor was bad, I have to admit that it came out strong. But that was just one member of a duo of new releases so far this year. They put them out at the same time, presumably because neither was strong enough to stand up on its own. So this way, maybe if you don't like one, you'll kind of forget about it and then eat the other one, and maybe you'll kind of forget about that one, and then you'll just forget about eating these cookies altogether, because they're all pretty much trash, IMO. Chocolate marshmallow I thought was bad in execution, but also boring in concept. Now, at least this week, it sounds like a little bit more of an interesting mashup. It's the caramel coconut. We're gonna have to get this out of the way right now. How do you pronounce the C word? Some people say caramel, some people say caramel. Caramel. I guess if I have to pick a side, and usually I don't have very strong opinions about things, but in this case I'd say that if you say caramel, you're a subhuman trash man and you deserve to be burned alive. But for the sake of appeasing the majority of my viewers without offending anybody, and also in the interest of brevity, I'll be referring to this flavor as simply Car Coke. That saves time, it cuts out like 4 different syllables that we just don't need. Unlike the chocolate marshmallow, caramel and coconut are 2 different flavors that I don't think they've made too much use of in the Oreo world. At least they haven't within the past year, both in the same cookie, so it's not quite as lazy as all that. I think there have been some thins that maybe have experimented with the coconut. I don't delve too far into those because they're not that good. But at any rate, it seems to me like a novel concept. I can't really think of too many times you see these 2 flavors together outside of, I suppose, an assorted chocolates box. You might get a caramel coconut in there, or 1 caramel, 1 coconut, and then you eat them at the same time, because when you eat 2 at a time, you feel even less lonely. On the front of this packaging, they're trying to tell me that this is some kind of a cake. This is like a coconut shavings cake, and there's caramel on top of it and maybe inside of it. Not something that I've ever seen. Sounds like something some 1%er would have. Vote for Bernie. Woo! It's got a scent to it, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't know if it's. Does caramel have a smell? And for that matter, do coconuts? I can't say that I know. I've only been around them in their artificial candy forms. I don't go around to tropical isles making radios and such. I might guess that this were some sort of a coffee flavor from the smell and coloring alone, but clearly that's not the case. I guess we can talk about coconut right now. It's kind of a controversial flavor. There are some big coconut haters out there. They see the coconut flavor and the chocolates and the cakes and the cookies, and they say, I don't want that. I don't particularly love the coconut flavor, but I think what most people find offensive, this is just me theorizing right now, is the texture of it. Usually it's this odd, chewy, grainy sort of texture, and there's the shavings, and they're kind of lumpy and flaky, but not in a nice way, like a pie crust, like skin. This looks to sidestep that issue at least altogether, in that it's just a cream. They didn't do anything fucking stupid like with the marshmallow where they put in little pieces in the cookie. This is just cream, just flavored cream, regular old cookies. That's it, back to basics. Coconut water fucking sucks. Caramel's tricky too, because, that's a really specific sensation, caramel. It's sticky. You gotta really savor it in your mouth for a while, and to recreate that with the cream, I doubt they're gonna try to go that far. I imagine it's just gonna have a slight caramel flavor to it. Boy, this is a real treasure trove of mysteries. First of all, I'm coming right off of the chocolate marshmallow. And again, if you didn't see that video, watch it. But I will just tell you that the texture of those cookies left something to be desired. So coming back into just the standard regular Oreo cookie, I mean, that's really nice. Immediately before I even get to the flavor, it reminds me how good that is and makes me question why they continue to mess with a formula that works. I don't know. So it has that going for it. The flavor itself, let's save whether or not I liked it for after a discussion of whether or not it tastes like it's two flavors that it purports to taste like on the front of the packaging. If you handed me one of these in a blind taste test and asked me to guess what flavor it is, I think I still might guess coffee of some kind. I don't get caramel or coconut out of this whatsoever. I think I need to do another deep dive. You know how I like to do a deep dive from time to time into purely just the cream. And this isn't something that I like to do, but sometimes it's necessary to get a full analysis that's accurate and helpful to my viewers. So I'm going in half a cookie with cream. Let's see if the flavor comes out a little more. I'm going to try to piece together exactly how I feel about it on the buds. It doesn't fucking taste like either of those things. While I find no mention of caramel in the ingredients list over here on the back, it does in fact indicate that there is, where was it? Dried coconut somewhere in these cookies. I'm not a huge coconut guy. My experience is limited to the occasional coconut-flavored chocolate from a Russell Stoves or maybe a macaroon from time to time. So maybe those are just different examples of a coconut flavor that aren't actually really good representations of what coconut flavor can and should be. Very possible that this is coconut heavy and I'm just not getting any of it. The caramel, which again, not indicated anywhere in the ingredients list, that must be some kind of an artificial flavor. I kind of get a subtle hint of sort of how that might be. But what's interesting about it is that it's really not very sweet. Overall, the flavor of this, you might think with caramel that it's going to be super sugary, syrupy, sweet. It's not that. Like I said, I think of it something as more akin to a coffee flavor, almost like an espresso flavor or something like that. There's a little bit of a bitterness to it, like very slightly. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still a chocolate-based cookie produced primarily for children and sad, overweight men and women. Girl power! But for what an Oreo cookie usually provides, this flavor is almost, dare I say it, sophisticated. I do think it's attempting to provide something that very few, if any, other Oreo cookie flavors are attempting to provide. It's a little bit refreshing. I feel like it's a nice antidote to some of those super sweet cookies. Of course, it's got that sugar, it's got that sweet lingering flavor, but if you're someone who thought, oh, Oreos, that's too rich for my blood, even with the DSPs, this might do it for you. Almost kind of like a nutty flavor in there. You know, like that sort of a taste. Like a cocoa nut. I guess they're nuts, coconut. You know what, the coconut is just starting to come out a little bit more. I think I'm starting to get hints of it. I think I'm feeling it. You have a few. It starts to come out. It does start to come out. The Car Coke Oreos have really surprised me in spite of my concerns over issues like whether or not this is really family size. It's not. That's a fucking lie, and they should be ashamed of themselves, as I said earlier. But the cookies inside of the lie, they're not terrible. I kind of like them. As I said, they offer something a little bit different from your usual Oreo. These feel like the kind of thing you might eat with a nice glass of some red wine. Ooh, maybe some cheese on the side while you're watching an episode of Downton Abbey or The News. Something like that. And I can appreciate that from time to time. You know, I feel like an adult when I eat these cookies, which is what I pretend to be. It's not great, but I you know what? Fuck. It's a half a cookie with cream. You know, it's pretty good. It's an interesting flavor. I think it'll work for a lot of people. I think for some people, they might really dig on this. It'll be their number one. Maybe if you hate coconut and caramel, you won't like it. But even if you do, maybe give it a try because I don't think it actually really tastes like either of those things. Well, last week's flavor was a real no-no, but this week's flavor, that's a real so-so, which is a big improvement in the world of Nabisco. I'm really looking forward to what they have coming up now for the rest of the year, but if they can keep this train rolling, whoa, who knows what could happen next. Let me know in the comments section how you feel about caramel and coconut. Do you like to say them like that, or does that make you angry when I said it? Talk to me down there. You can also like this video and subscribe for more Oreo opinions in the future. I'm going to be covering all the Oreos that are possible to cover. You know, there's a lot to do. There's a lot of my work's cut out for me, but I believe in myself and I think that I can do it. And I think with your support and if you believe, we could get it done together. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. And now I'm going to sign off with one of these. Oreo!
How's the cookie? You wanna know? It's the Oreo Review Show.